Now we are ready to start with the Swami session. Before we get started with Swami session, I want to give a very brief introduction about Swami. Swami Kripamayanandaji Maharaj is a monk of Ramakrishna Order. He is currently the minister and head of Vedanta Society of Toronto, Canada. Swami joined Ramakrishna Order in 1976 and received his final monastic vows in 1986. Swami came to Toronto Center as an assistant minister in July 2003 and later in the same year became the head of the center. Earlier, while in India, Swami served in the field of education mostly. He served both as a teacher and a superintendent of hostels in Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, a residential school in Purulia, West Bengal. Swami also served as headmaster of a high school run by Ramakrishna Mission in Asansol, West Bengal. Swami has traveled to many major cities across Canada and USA on invitation and has conducted spiritual retreats and given talks on subjects related to religion and spirituality. And he continues to do so. With this brief introduction, I would like to request Swami to start his discourse now. I think before that, there is Buddha Dev give a brief introduction, followed that Swami will be talking. And thank you all. Please keep silence. Thank you.
I think it's certainly befitting on this auspicious and sunny long Easter weekend to read something from Swami Vivekananda. He gave a talk in Los Angeles, California in 1900, and the subject of the talk was Christ the Messenger. So here's an excerpt from that talk. So Swamiji says, so we find Jesus of Nazareth, in the first place, the true Son of the Orient, intensely practical. He has no faith in this evanescent world and all its belongings. No need of text torturing, as is the fashion in the West in modern times. No need of stretching out texts until they will not stretch anymore. Texts are not India rubber, and even that has its limits. Now, no making of religion to pander to the sense vanity of the present day. Mark you, let us all be honest. If we cannot follow the ideal, let us confess our weakness, but not degrade it. Let not any try to pull it down. One gets sick at heart at the different accounts on the life of the Christ that Western people give. I do not know what he was or what he was not. One would make him a great politician. Another, perhaps, would make him of a great military general. Another, a great patriotic Jew, and so on. Is there any warrant in the books for all such assumptions? The best commentary on the life of a great teacher is his own life. The foxes have holes, the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. That is what Christ says as the only way to salvation. He lays down no other way. Let us confess in sackcloth and ashes that we cannot do that. We still have fondness for me and mine. We want property, money, wealth, woe unto us. Let us confess and not put to shame that great teacher of humanity. He had no family ties. But do you think that man had any physical ideas in him? Do you think that this mass of light, this God and not man, came down to earth to be the brother of the animals? And yet, people make him preach all sorts of things. He had no sex ideas. He was a soul. Nothing but a soul, just working a body for the good of humanity. And that was all his relation to the body. In the soul, there is no sex. The disembodied soul has no relationship to the animal, no relationship to the body. The ideal may be very far away from us and beyond us, but never mind. Keep to the ideal. Let us confess that it is our ideal, but we cannot approach it yet. Jesus had no other occupation in life, no other thought except that one, that he was a spirit. He was a disembodied, unfettered, unbound spirit. And not only so, but he, with his marvelous vision, had found that every man and woman, whether Jew or Gentile, whether rich or poor, whether saint or sinner, was the embodiment of the same undying spirit as himself. Therefore, the one work his whole life showed was to call upon them to realize their own spiritual nature. Give up, he says, these superstitious dreams that you are low and that you are poor. Think not that you're trampled upon and tyrannized over as if you were slaves, for within you is something that can never be tyrannized over, never be trampled upon, never be troubled, never be killed. You are all sons of God, immortal spirit. No, he declared, the kingdom of heaven is within you. I and my Father are one. Dare you stand up and say, not only that, I am the Son, and I and my Father are one. That was what Jesus of Nazareth said. He never talks of this world and of this life. He has nothing to do with it except that he wants to get hold of the world as it is, give it a push, and drive it forward and onward until the whole world has reached to the effulgent light of God, until everyone has realized his true spiritual nature, until death is vanished and misery banished. Yes.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good afternoon and welcome to the celebration of our resurrection of Christ, or Easter. Today is Easter Eve, and yesterday was Good Friday, very holy day for many in the world, for all people who have faith in Christianity and those who love Christ. For all them, Good Friday, the very holy day when God incarnate sacrifices his life for the good of humanity. That's how the world is saved. In Vedanta, it is said that Purusha, or God, sacrificed himself to create this world. Purusha Suktam says that the whole world has come from the supreme reality, that it sacrificed itself. Sacrifice is the law. Swami Vivekananda also says, for all the good have to sacrifice their life for the good of many, for the happiness of many. Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. What is the significance and message of Easter? First, let us see who the Jesus Christ is. The Gospel according to St. John gives us some indication of his role as an avatar. It begins, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word God was God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory of only begotten Son of the Father, full of grace and truth. That's what the Jesus is. God was the Word, God embodied, became flesh and dwelt among us. The God, incarnation of God is that. All avatars ultimately are formless, infinite, nirguna nirakara Brahman. And that nirguna nirakara Brahman, without attributes, without form, infinite, immortal, ever existing reality, the ultimate cause of this universe, that embodies in the human form, assumes the human form, and we call him Avatara. Why did he come? In the Gita, Sri Krishna said, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma rakshanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge dharma samsthapanarthaya. So to re-establish the dharma, or to give the light to human beings, to show them the light, to protect the good, to destroy the evil. That's how I reincarnate myself again and again, embody myself again and again, says that supreme reality who was embodied as Sri Krishna. According to Swami Vivekananda, Jesus may mean many things to many people throughout the world, but his ideas and teachings will always be universal to all spiritual seekers of the past, present, and future. We must perceive Jesus beyond a historical figure to a universal figure. Only then Christ will be truly meaningful and transformational to humanity. All great spiritual teachers belong to the whole of humanity and transcend all limitations of geography, caste, creed, sex, religion, etc. That's why sometimes it becomes difficult to explain great spiritual teachers such as Jesus in theological and philosophical terms, where sometimes the idea becomes localized or provincialized. The ideal of Jesus, his sacrifices, his compassion, his mercy, his love, and concern for whole of humanity has guided, uplifted, and inspired millions of people around the world for the last 2,000 years. His teachings have influenced people from all over the world, including those who do not necessarily belong to the Christian tradition. Great men who were born outside Christian tradition, like Keshav Chandra Sen, Dr. Radhakrishnan, Mahatma Gandhi, Ram Mohan Roy, and many others have drawn inspiration from the teachings of Jesus Christ. Such is the Avatara. And of course, our own Swami Vivekananda admired him so much that he said, if I could find Jesus living, I will wash his holy feet, not with the tears from my eyes, but from the blood of my heart. That was his reverence to Jesus Christ. Swami Vivekananda, well versed in Bible and used to carry the book of Imitation of Christ during his travel around in India as a mendicant, as Paribrajaka. He used to have two books, only two books. One was Imitation of Christ, where a devotee writes how he is dedicated. Thomas A. Kempy, you must have read, many of you, how he was always doing prayer to Jesus. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. Day and night, through every breath, in all his travels in Eastern Europe, he used to pray that way. He was a Russian mendicant, and that was his prayer, always remembering God in the form of Jesus. And Swami Vivekananda loved this book, a devotee who was inseparably connected with the thought of God. According to Sri Ramakrishna, the following two direct disciples were disciples of Christ in their previous births. Shashi, Swami Ramakrishnananda, who knew and taught the Bible. Sharat, Swami Sharadananda, had a vision of St. Peter and merged into him while visiting the Vatican Cathedral in Rome. Swami Brahmananda, the first president of the Ramakrishna order, often said to brahmacharis and monks meditate on the Christ within, and feel his living presence. That is the role of Jesus Christ for the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. As you might know, Sri Ramakrishna was actively interested in every religion, for he followed their particular paths to discover the truth of them. A disciple named Sambhu Malik of his would occasionally read the Bible to him and then explain it in Bengali. In this way, Ramakrishna came to know something of Christianity. One day, while visiting a devotee, Jadu Malik, he saw a picture of the Madonna and Christ. As he was looking at the picture, it suddenly became living to him. His heart was filled with love for Christ. For a period of 3 days and 3 nights, he stayed in his room, filled with the presence of Jesus. He even refused to go to the Hindu temple or worship any of the Hindu gods or goddesses. Curious to know how the followers of Christ worship their Lord, he was granted a vision of devotees kneeling before Jesus and praying to him. On the 3rd day, as he was seated outside his room, Ramakrishna noticed a luminous figure approaching him. At once he knew that this was Christ, the Savior. The figure approached and embraced him and entered into his body. And so Ramakrishna came to understand that Jesus was an avatar, a divine incarnation. Christ had another significance for the Ramakrishna order. After Ramakrishna passed away in 1886, his disciples took their final resolve to renounce the world and become monks on the Christmas Eve of 1886. So you can understand why Christmas Eve is particularly sacred to us, for the order was really founded on that day. It took the shape, and Swami Vivekananda that day in glorious words inspired his would-be brother monks, his friends, young friends who would renounce the world, inspired about the renunciation, love, sacrifice and the monastic life of Jesus Christ. Without knowing that it was a Christmas Eve, he started speaking about Jesus, and later on found that it was a Christmas Eve. It is not possible to have an intellectual understanding of anything unless we relate it back to some other thing. In other words, it is impossible to understand a religion or a prophet of a religion without comparing them to some other teaching or teacher. If someone is unique or has no parallel in history, it cannot be understood on an intellectual level. Therefore, we must try to explain Jesus in relation to other great teachers of the world. We witness throughout the history of the world that in time of despair, injustice, ignorance, and darkness, great spiritual dynamos called avatars tend to descend on earth, who willingly absorb mankind's shortcomings, called sin or karma or ignorance or weakness, whatever you call that, and remove their suffering and once more give new hope and renewal of light and knowledge to whole humanity as one spiritual family. In fact, every avatar's coming is resurrection, as it were, of the humanity. They give us light, they give us hope, and then show us the path, and we are led from darkness to light. We tend to tread the path of light by the teachings and presence of Avatara. When Avatara is born in this world, its influence remains for a long time, even after the Avatara has finished his Leela or his sojourn in the world. His life is gone, its limited lifetime span is over. But his influence remains effective in the same way, even greater way, sometimes after the Avatara has left. So that is the power of Avatara. He lives like 50, 40, Jesus lived only 30, 29 years. So, but his influence remains 2,000 years So much powerful is that life that is never ending. It is work, it's gift to mankind. Man can be inspired by the life and teachings of Jesus after 2000 years. What the rishis said in the Vedas, we don't know when Krishna was born, when Rama was born. It's beyond the light of limit of history. So there their life inspires. We heard the songs today. They're all about Rama. It is written by Tyagaraja. Rama's life is so inspiring. Even after maybe 5,000 years, 8,000 years, still Rama inspires to the people to do the right thing, to live in the world with peace and joy. That is the power of Avatara. Similar is the Jesus power. How Lord Rama came when the rise of tyranny of Asuras were there, and he had to neutralize them. Lord Krishna came when there was rise of extreme adharma and people were failing to pursue the dharma. Injustice has come. Somehow you grab others' things. Justice has been forgotten. And Krishna came and gave that great message of the Gita in the battlefield. Someone teaching spiritual message, sermon at the battlefield. Very unique. You won't find that. Jesus Christ gave great message of spirituality, but it was a quiet hill of the Mount of Beatitude in Israel. But here Krishna comes and he inspires Arjuna not only to do the rightful work, to perform his duty, but to hold mankind how one should live in this world, and make his human life meaningful, purposeful, and successful. That message he gave in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Buddha came, avatars coming one after another, resurrection of avatars as it were. Sri Ramakrishna said wonderful thing. Sri Krishna came from infinite ocean of mercy. One wave came, and wave took the form, it became flesh, and that became Krishna at one place in one time in the history. And this gave the message. The same from that same ocean of Satchidananda, from ocean of mercy, that ocean of that God, you can say, another place, another time, another wave came and gave message in another language, and it was Jesus Christ. No difference. The one who was Krishna was Rishi Krishna. That's how he used to pronounce in Bengali. Jesus Christ is sometimes called Krishna, and he used to call Rishi Krishna. It's a sage Krishna, is avatar of God. So similar. And Krishna is called Kesto. Kesto and Krishna, same being in two forms. After a huge gap of we don't know how many years, Krishna must be 5,000 years old ago, and Jesus 2,000 years ago. Must be 3,000 years of gap. And same being comes to show the humanity light in other part of the world. But the light that they emanate is for the whole world. Then comes Lord Buddha. During Buddha's time, there was rise of too much power and monopoly of priestly class. People had become very ritualistic, following Vedic religion and only the offering, sacrifice of animals, and somehow rituals have become all, and people have forgotten their own uplift of their own life through spiritual practice, through honesty, through love of God, and all that thing was not there. So self-practice, self-sadhana was not there. Only ritualistic worship, and very worldly-minded people had become. So they had forgotten the real purpose of religion, though have taken the help of religion. But Vedic Karma Kanda is meant to evolve. Karma Kanda is the stage of life for the beginning. And after the Karma Kanda, you go to Jnana Kanda. That's what the Vedas are there. In the beginning, you do all the rituals, purify your mind through your karma. And then you go to philosophy. But they stop there and only earning money, having a happy life, and all that had come. Buddha said, this is not the way humanity will find peace and happiness. And he showed the light. Practice goodness in life. Have perfect speech. Do perfect meditation. Do perfect livelihood. Good livelihood. Be good gentleman. And do right meditation. Have philosophical bent of mind. Know the unreality or that impermanence of the world. Don't be attached to this impermanent world. If you are attached to this impermanent world, you will suffer. It will always slip from your hand. Nothing will remain. After all, the nature of the world is impermanence. It is changing every time. Don't take it to be permanent. It will be a great mistake and it will be a lot of suffering for you. So that time Buddha came and taught that. Jesus came when there was a rise of Roman tyranny in the part of Middle East, and how he taught, we all know the life and teachings of the Jesus. Then came Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the rise of religious conversion by foreign invaders had come. People had religious disharmony, and the people had, particularly the followers of Vedanta or Hinduism, were little down, and there were a lot of conversion was there. There are already aggression and rule by the foreigners had started of those who profess different religion. Muslims have already occupied the country, and the people had forgotten religion. They were already depressed. They thought we have religion is not for us. So to stop that, to show the light to the people that your religion is great, you can perform, you can advance. Don't be so sad. Some religion may come. So the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and there was also very distinction of caste in India. What Buddha fought, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also fought in that way. And he said, everyone has the right to love God, to sing the glory of God, to repeat the name of God. And that will make you spiritual, because God's name has the power and holiness to make you holy and pure. Repeat the name of God. Be love your God, and God will reveal. You will find the way, she said. Then Sri Ramakrishna came during our time, just 150 years ago, 175 years ago he came. And he came when there was rise of allurement of colonialists, education, materialism, and their so-called superior way of life while discarding your own faith, divinity, and religion. That's how this, when the Britishers made us the colony, India colony, didn't rule India by force, by power, by their military power, but they started ruling our culture, our thought, and our religion very subtly. And there Sri Ramakrishna came and showed the grandeur of Vedanta, grandeur of Hinduism, how it is Catholic, how it accepts all religion, how this philosophy of Vedanta can make the whole world one, and how it can accept all different types of varieties of religious thoughts and faiths, and not one prevailing. If one says only my faith is true, then there will be conflict, fight. Sri Ramakrishna came to harmonize all religions and also to show people that the God is reality. People asked, have you seen God? He said, yes, I see God. You are the one and only person, one Swami Vivekananda found, one who can boldly say, yes, I see God. God is reality, and I can show you God. That's what Sri Ramakrishna reaffirmed, the faith of human beings in the supreme being called God, the repository of all goodness, peace, and fulfillment of all our wishes. That God's reality was proven by Sri Ramakrishna. And he practiced. He didn't just say by words. He saw God through all different paths, in different paths of Hinduism and through Islamic path, to the path of Jesus Christ that we saw, how we saw Jesus living in the picture. That picture, what was described just now, is in the United States. The original picture which Sri Ramakrishna saw, the Jesus and Madonna becoming light and effulgent, and Jesus light from the body of the baby Jesus entering into his body. That picture original now is in the United States. It is in our San Francisco Center, Vedanta Society of San Francisco. Therefore, throughout history, we find world's great teachers will speak the same truth, though they might express themselves differently based on need and time. Avatars tend to bring just the right amount of light required in order to eradicate the same amount of darkness of humanity. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. Whenever dharma is declined and adharma rises, So I come forth to save the humanity from adharma. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To reestablish dharma, I take birth. Not only I have taken birth in this time, but from age to age, from time to time, I come forth in different forms, in different names, but with the same purpose, to establish the dharma, the way of right path for the humanity. Swami Vivekananda himself translated this: whenever virtue subsides and wickedness prevails, I manifest myself to establish virtue, to destroy evil, to save the good. I come from yuga, age to age. What is so special, so extraordinary about a divine incarnation? About his own birth, Jesus said, "Ye are from beneath, I am from above. Ye are of this world, I am not of this world." This Jesus told his disciples, and it is a peculiar feature of incarnations to reveal their unique status first to their disciples. All incarnations do that. That's what Krishna said to Arjuna, that he is divine. And that's why he said, I come forth from age to age. That's why Jesus also said, you come from below, we come from above. What does it mean? We, the human beings, are born of karma, our own karma. That creates our lives, and the karma creates our death to birth and birth to death. We have to go through the cycle of regeneration, cycle of rebirth. But what is God? They looks just like us, but they are made of totally different things. They have no karma by which they are born. They are born just to help us, just out of kindness to us. There is a story of God's incarnation. Some people wanted to see God. So now there was a long line and huge crowd, and they had to climb by stair to go to heaven to see God. And they saw a lot of people. There will be a long time. When will you get the chance? Queue was like huge, like your Kumbh Mela people, all standing there. 66 million people taking dip and Holy Kumbh, this time Mahakumbh they call. So like that, there was huge people, they want to see God, because after seeing God, their life will transform. They will fill with all joy and happiness, all misery, weakness, ignorance will all go when you see God. So, but there was no way, one by one you have to go to God. That was the rule made. So there was many people, one person shouted, Lord, it is so many of us, and one by one we go, and then it is seeing, it will take long time, maybe you will die in this attempt. God said, but that is the way it has been made, that is the law. No, I cannot suggest something else that can be done. So he was perhaps a lawyer. So he suggested, the Lord says, what is the other thing can be done? He said, instead of we going one by one to you, why can't you come down and we all can see you at once? And God really accepted his proposal and came down from heaven in the form of human being. That's why the coming down is called avatarana in Sanskrit. Coming down. And God became avatarana. By his process of avatarana, he came in the world, and we all can see together, all together, one God coming. And the one who did the process of avatarana is called avatara, incarnation of God. So that's the story made. So it's not in the Shastra. So that's how God's king is there. So Jesus, they all come without any karma. Now in this life, the karma theory says, what we have done and what we have come, our karma makes us how we live our life. All our enjoyment and suffering are the result of karma. All our suffering is because of our something in our past karma or any karma in this life we have done, and that has to be taken fruit. That has to be fructified. Something wrong done, you cannot go without having punishment for that. So to that if you go in this life, next life you have to suffer. But why did incarnation suffer so much? Why Jesus had to suffer so much? Why Sri Ramakrishna had to have the pain of all cancer and all the trouble, so much of suffering, so much pains? Why? There's no karma at all. So they say God takes the karma of us. all our whatever bad karma was there, and they accept and they suffer for us. Don't the Christians say Jesus suffered for us? So that's what is true. God suffers because of us to save us. One very beautiful story of Holy Mother. Once one brahmachari went to buy some grocery from a village nearby. In Jairambati, there was nothing. She was in Jairambati. And because the village was a little far, he couldn't go always come and go. It was no grocery shop was not close by. He had to walk few miles. So he thought, let me carry something, guests will come. So carry it. So while purchasing, he purchased a good quantity of all vegetables and all groceries. It was very happy. It became very heavy. There was no port at that time. So he was a young man. He thought he can carry that. He put the whole this basket of grocery with rice and pulses and the vegetables on his head. But it was too heavy. He didn't realize that. And he started walking towards Jairambati. It was quite far away. And while walking, really, his neck started paining, head started paining. He cannot walk. There is no any vehicle to take. There is no other person to help. It's getting evening. Then he cried to Mother. Started praying. Mother, I cannot do any more now. How can I carry this? When he prayed from his heart, suddenly he found that his basket has become light, and he walked and came to Jairambati in half an hour or in 45 minutes time walking backwards. And here, what happened? People saw Holy Mother and putting her hand like this and walking on the courtyard, and she's sweating. Holy Mother is sweating. She took all the weight, burden of his brahmachari, a disciple, and make his weight light and carried his burden. That's how God takes our burden and makes our life so easy. So that's the work of God. So Holy Mother used to say, when we have come, we have not come just to eat rasagullas. Many people used to offer rasagullas, Sri Ramakrishna like jalebi, special type of sweet. This is not for what we have come, only to have that. We have come to work for the people, work hard. How much Sri Ramakrishna worked? Swami Vivekananda says, out of 24 hours, he used to work 20 hours, talking with this person, giving instruction to that person, visiting there, coming back in the evening at 11 o'clock. In that time, there was no electricity. Dark. He used to talk with the devotees because they enjoyed his conversation, his association, his company up to 11 o'clock. Then he will come to Dakshineswar, maybe 12 midnight. After that, he used to sleep like 1.5 hours, 2 hours, and whole night he used to repeat Mother Kali's name, God's names. That was Sri Ramakrishna's work. And early morning, then devotees will start coming. Sometimes midnight, devotees will come. Girish Ghosh comes at midnight, drunk, and comes in. And Sri Ramakrishna sees him drunk and welcomes him and holds his hand and starts dancing. A drunkard man who is a character is very much questionable. And what is this avatara? See his love for humanity. He holds his hand and starts dancing with the person who is intoxicated with alcohol. That is the avatara doing work. He has to give relief to everyone, not only himself. He asked Swami Vivekananda, his chief disciple, what do you want? He said, I want to always remain in samadhi and enjoy the bliss of samadhi, nothing to do with the world. And for some time, after many days, I can come to the normal plane, eat something to sustain the body, and again go back to samadhi. Any teacher will be so happy. It is so unworldly. He is not attached to anything of the world. He enjoys the bliss of God. He always communion with God. But what was Sri Ramakrishna's answer? What a pity mind you have. You are not born for this. You are born to become like a big, huge banyan tree, under whose shade will come people suffering from the scorching sun. And they will get shade and cool air under you. You have to give them and yourself will have the sun's light of the heat of summer, but you will give shade to the people of the world. That is your birth, not for enjoying yourself, to give the joy of spirituality to the people of the world. That is what your birth is. And for that, you may have to suffer. Let you suffer. Swami Vivekananda in turn, that's what Swami Vivekananda's life was. He worked so hard in the United States. When he came to the West, his body, his health broke. Still, he went on working, went to India, visited many places, still working, came back again second time. And after that, totally it was broken, health was broken. He went back and didn't survive many years. Just, he was not even 40 when he passed away. And how was Vivekananda? That Swami Sri Ramakrishna was an embodiment of love. Holy Mother was such. And Swami Vivekananda, his disciple, was also similarly loving, very loving. His heart was so big and full of love for others. What he used to say to his disciples, I love you so much, he says. And Jesus said, you all love each other as I love you, he said to his disciples. Swami Vivekananda also loved his disciples and others, devotees very much. He said, I love you so much, yet I want you to work and while working to die. And when I see you dying while working for others, while serving others, then I will have a laugh. That is my success that I want. His Guru taught him that way. He teaches the same way to his disciples. That is what Swami Vivekananda, that where love and service is the lineage of Ramakrishna order. What is the significance and message of Easter? We all know that historically and traditionally, Easter is celebrated as the great resurrection of Christ, 3 days after his crucifixion, according to the New Testament. According to Vedanta point of view, Christ's crucifixion symbolizes two things. First, the body or the flesh and blood is impermanent and will eventually perish. Secondly, our mind or intellect, which contains ignorance, weakness, ego, sense pleasure, etc., is equally transitory and perishable. So one is subtle body consisting of mind, intellect, ego. Another is gross body, which consists of limbs, blood, flesh, that body that we can see and touch. The subtle body, which we can feel but cannot see and touch. All are material. In Mandukya Karika, it tells us that whenever we are all asleep spiritually, slave of senses, pleasured by name, fame, wealth, money, deluded by sense pleasures, spiritually sleeping, it is during such a time that an avatara is born. How have the other avatars expressed their love for humanity and their assurance that they are the way and the truth? Christ said, I am the light of the world. He that followed me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. And again, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I shall give you rest. Sri Krishna promised, those who know the nature of my task and my holy birth are not reborn when they leave the body. They come to me, flying from fear, from lust and anger. They hide in me their refuge and safety. Burnt clean in the blaze of my being, in me, many find rest. And again, lay down all duties in me, your refuge. Fear no longer. I will save you from sin and bondage. From Sri Ramakrishna we hear, take refuge in me, I am the sanctuary. He told this to Girish Ghosh. As we read these passages, it appears as though one great universal teacher is quoting the truth of the other, because the same spirit is speaking only clothed in different garments. We find in the book of John, Jesus said unto him, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Now, as spiritual seekers and followers of Vedantic teachings, we must try to understand what Jesus means to say regarding I and me. So, in order to understand the real meaning of Jesus' utterance, we should try to rely on the scripture and our own experience. In the light of Vedanta, what do we really mean when we say I and me? In ignorance, our I refers to a body, being with a mind, intellect, ego, and the rest, whom each of us sees as me. Therefore, what I see and feel are somehow connected with my body, mind, intellect, and ego. When these are absent, such as in deep sleep, my joys and problems are absent too. While we all experience fleeting happiness in life, the same goes with our suffering. Unfortunately, nothing lasts forever, yet they also don't disappear forever. What everyone in the world really wants is not temporary happiness, but eternal happiness, and at the same time, permanent absence of suffering. Eternal happiness and freedom from suffering is precisely what religions of the world promise as the ultimate goal. They are often expressed by various religions as salvation, nirvana, mukti, God realization, which are experientially all the same. To experience eternal happiness and freedom from suffering, according to Vedanta, I have to be free from the false idea that I am only this limited body mind complex. So, I must realize this through direct experience, through spiritual practice, that I am not the body, I have a body. I am not the mind, I have a mind. I am a divine being, pure, free, and immortal. I must discover that I am that infinite and unchanging reality. The most well known who achieved highest realization are today worshipped and adored as saints, mystics, saviors, prophets, or divine incarnations. Look at, for instance, this passage from the Gita where Krishna says, Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha, meaning, I am the father of this world, the mother, the sustainer, and the grandfather. In the next verse, he goes on to say that he is the Lord and the source of this world. None of this would make any sense if applied to the historical Krishna, and his I had simply remained confined to his body mind personality as a Manava. But the real reason Krishna is adored and worshipped even today, centuries after he was born, is that his I was no longer the little self attached to his body and mind. It has realized its own infinite divine nature. His I was not the human I anymore. It had transfigured into the divine I. The human Krishna, son of Vasudeva and Devaki, has transcended into Devi, eternal and universal Krishna. Similarly, when Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life, he that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. It is exactly the same transcendental human I to divine I and transformational the human being to divine meaning. We know Jesus is different. He is special. He is an enlightened being. He is the Son of God. That's why he continues to shine his divine light upon us even today. The historical Jesus inspires us, but it is only the transcendent, timeless Jesus who saves us. The eye of Jesus is the eye of the divine. Didn't Jesus say, I and my Father are one? He was one with Brahman when he spoke this message. All this message of the Gita or in the gospel, when you hear this spiritual message that touches our heart, is the time when they speak, when they were identified with the supreme being, supreme reality. That's how it becomes so powerful. Swami Vivekananda, when he writes letters from the US to his brother disciples and his devotees in India, he says, read this letter and read it to others. Know that they will all be inspired by reading these letters. Such an egoless person should say something like that read my letter and you will get inspired. Because it was not a thing of ego. He says, do you think I am writing this letter? I am not writing. I feel someone is holding my hand. Someone is occupied my brain. Someone has found place in my mind. And he is writing this letter. He was one with God when he wrote the letters of Vivekananda that we read in the book. That's why it is so inspiring. So it catches the fire when you read Swami Vivekananda. So powerful, so inspirational. That's why the Jesus also. When you say that Jesus, the human being inspires. Jesus of the heart, ever-living reality, the God supreme in the human form, that saves us. In the light of this understanding, Jesus' teaching that the flesh must be crucified in order to ascend in spirit becomes meaningful to a Vedanta student. So what is that flesh to be sacrificed is, you have to transcend the idea that you are the body and mind complex. That is the sacrifice of the flesh. And understand you are pure spirit, pure, and you are immortal and pure spirit. That is the sacrifice of the flesh. And when we go to that stage, we live forever. There is no death for us. It becomes immortal. There must be the crucifixion of the ego, the little self, before the resurrection of the spirit, the divine self. Doing everything possible to bring this about is what spiritual practice means. And this can be done through prayer, worship, meditation, study, and selfless service. So, the real crucifixion and the real resurrection must take place in the depths of our own being. If we crucify the material part of our personality, our body-mind-centered I, the divine within us, the I of God, will be resurrected. It will shine in all glory, light, and bliss through eternity. The Upanishads tell us, first one must realize his presence within. Then, when you go to pray or to meditate, you feel his presence very near you, nearer than your hands or your feet. For he is the mind of the mind, the eye of the eye, and the ear of the ear. You feel that truth tangibly, and then he becomes manifest. And it is then you give your whole heart to him, and you know him to be pure consciousness itself and infinite love. Sri Ramakrishna would often say that if you take only one step towards God, he will come 100 steps toward you. Only a little struggle, a little striving, strengthened by his grace, will lead you to the realization of a divine nature at any day, any time, any moment. You just have to wake up from your slumber of ego, ignorance, and despair, and the divine grace awaits. One of Swami Vivekananda's favorite saying of Christ, ask, it shall be given unto you. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Seek, and you shall find that the eternal Christ. Krishna, Rama, Shiva, Kali, Buddha, Ramakrishna are not to be found in churches, nor in temples, nor in books, nor in scriptures, but within your own hearts. You can find them there. They live in the heart. Moko kahan dhoonde re bando, main to hoon tere paas mein. I am within you. Where are you searching me in the temples and churches and mosques? I reside within in your heart. So that's what he said. Rabindranath Tagore, a great Nobel laureate and very spiritual poet, he wrote a beautiful poem on Jesus. একদিন যারা মেরেছিল তারে গিয়ে রাজা দোহাই দিয়ে এ যুগে তারাই জন্ম নিয়েছে আজি মন্দিরে তারা এসেছে ভক্ত সাজি. Those who punished Jesus, who killed Jesus, transformation comes in them. They are not always like that. There is resurrection, there is change, there is transformation. Those who killed, hated Jesus in next life, in generation today now, they might be the temple worshipping Jesus, remaining there as the devotees of God. So transformation is possible, progress is possible. Swami Vivekananda said to Balaram Boshu that when he said, complained, I don't find much change in me, even after serving Sri Ramakrishna, seeing the incarnation of God. Swami Vivekananda said, what are you saying? So much of change has come in you. You have become so pure and holy. You have become true devotee. You are saying no change has come? You are an animal. You were a cattle. Now you have become human being. You will become God. All these changes happen, when transformation happen, resurrection happen. You are reborn into spiritual life. The message of resurrection, Easter is regeneration and transformation from the animalistic life of the world as a human being of the soul, Homo sapiens, and transform in our order as divine child of the divine, from aham, the manava, to aham brahmasmi. I am that supreme being, I am the supreme self. When we transcend this limitation of human existence, in our awareness of only the physical body or mental body consisting of human being, to the being that is in reality spiritual, when I attain that spiritual awareness in our life, then is true resurrection. Thank you very much.
We have time to take few
Okay,
question and answers.
Yes.
We are running out of time. We are a little late, but we will have 2-3 questions. That is we can take. If anybody have questions, please to raise your question hand. We will bring the mic to you. Any questions from anybody? Yeah.
Pranam Maharaj, please. I have a question, might not be related to what you have spoken today, but I thought I'll ask. So I was going through the gospel, and in that Ramakrishna says that there are 3 types of people, Shuddhagun, Tamagun and Rajagun, and he describes that the people who are with Shuddhagun are people who do not keep things clean around them. They are always into divine things. They are not worried about things. But I see that all of you from the Ramakrishna order, they keep everything very clean around you and take care of stuffs being put in the right place. Maybe I had not understood it, so I thought I'll just ask you.
Okay, that what he said is you can understand a person just by his appearance or his living thing. Person seems to be not cleaning nothing, house is old, but he's because he's so much into spirituality, he has no time into that. It doesn't mean a spiritual person has to be look like Tamoguni. That is a sign of Tamoguna when you are not clean. Sri Ramakrishna himself was very neat and clean. He disliked the torn cloth or dirty cloth. He was so methodical and kept everything there. Very methodical and organized was Sri Ramakrishna's life. He says that sometimes I forget my cloth to wear, but where I have kept the things, I do not forget at all. Very organized, exceptionally organized. A great saint, always dwelling in God. But in worldly matters, he was so organized. What he says about that Sattaguni sadhaka is that sadhaka does not have time to look after his surrounding and doesn't have mind to give that. Not necessarily that means that all sadhakas will have like that. When one sadhaka rises to that height, there are people around who come and mean the things. So don't judge by a person just by its cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a person by just seeing his habitation or his appearance. That's what he says.
I have a question. Is mind personal or impersonal?
mind actually is a part of universal mind. But in our ignorance, we are not connected with universal mind. For in our level, when we have ego, mind is very personal. It's my mind. I have to work on this mind, clean this mind, purify this mind, and make it move towards the right direction. So that's what Buddha said. Philosophically, mind is all minds are connected. We are all connected. Physically, we are all connected to the universe. Mentally, we are all connected with the universal mind, and spiritually, we are all one. One spirit appears as many souls. That one spirit, one Atma is there. But at our level, we are ignorant of that. We take everything as individual, body as individual, mind as individual, and spirit also as the individual soul. For our level, we have to take the mind as individual and try to improve the mind and purify the mind through sadhana, through good works, through good actions and good thoughts. So
when in childhood we talk about Brahma, it's pointing to that.
child we talk about
Brahma, you talk about Brahma, right? Brahma Vishnu.
yeah, exactly.
So Brahma is
is
silent between universal.
Brahma is
And
universal
the
intellect.
Brahma is the creation.
Brahma is universal intellect. You are very right. Brahma is universal intellect. From that, because that from that the creation comes. First Brahma comes means what? It's very figuratively said. First Brahma comes means from first when creation started, Mula Prakriti, first the intellect came. Intellect was Mahat. In Sankhya it's called Mahat. Of the 24 principle, Mahat, that is called Brahma in Puranas. The same thing, you are right.
So why the Brahma is not worshipped?
Somehow worship of Brahma is not there because though he is creator, he always created us. So he himself is supposed to be, according to Puranas, he himself is supposed to be dependent on another deity called Vishnu. So Vishnu is worshipped more. And Brahma himself worshipped Vishnu. In Puranas, you'll find people go to Brahma. The Devas go to Brahma to solve some problem. Brahma says, I don't know the answer, let's go to Vishnu. And Vishnu says, oh, it's very difficult, let's go to Shiva. So they all go to Shiva. And Shiva also sometimes says, oh, it is very difficult, we have to all get together and meditate. And then all they meditate and the power comes and the Durga comes from the power of all that. So that's how it is done. Somehow in Hindu theology, Brahma is not worshipped. There is only one temple of Brahma in Pushkar. Otherwise, Brahma is not a popular deity in Hinduism. Popular deity is Vishnu or Shiva. And Vishnu and his incarnations are more popular. Krishna and Rama, those become popular. And the popular are also Devi. Among the Devi, Kali is very popular in eastern India. And the Shakti worship is there. Lakshmi, Saraswati, all there to be worshipped in India. Somehow Brahma is not worshipped because he is supposed to create, and he himself says, greater is that. If you read Bhagavatam, student asked Brahma question. So what is how this mind is connected with the objects of senses, and how they can be dissociated? Because if the mind is always thinking of the sense objects, how can we think of God? They will go to Brahma. Brahma says, I don't know the answer of this. Say, let me try to meditate on divine, my creator, Vishnu. And then Vishnu comes in the form of Hamsa and teaches that. So that's why Brahma to directly to Vishnu.
Thank you, Maharaj. I think no more questions. Now I would request Ratnadi to come and present a flower bouquet to Maharaj.
Thank you very much. I take it for the. I take it for to offer to God.
Okay.
So thank you. Thank you. Just take it and offer to God. I take one. So you can break now and I offer.
Yes. Now we will take a short 10-15 minutes break, then we will get started with the Aarti. Yeah, please join. Let's take not more than 15 minutes. Please come back. Thank you.